Hello, this class is on advanced business analytics. I have some introductory slides I would like to go over with you. So the first class prior to that, let's just call it Introduction to Analytics. So we're gonna review quickly what that class is about, and the emphasis is on business analytics. So whether that class is called anything, perspectives on business analytics or analytical spreadsheet modeling, the content is the same, and this is what we cover in that class. We cover 3 levels of analytics according to Davenport from Harvard Business Review. He split analytics into 3 different levels: descriptive, which is visualization, and descriptive statistics. So this could be different charts, different mean, mode, median, cross tabs like pivot tables, and so on. Then we go to predictive, which is statistics, using statistics. So linear regression, quadratic regression, time series analysis, and forecasting. And so descriptive is describing past data. Predictive is trying to predict future data using these techniques. And then we talk about forecasting and time series analysis. And prescriptive is using a different area of math. It's called mathematical programming. So we learn about good practices for spreadsheet modeling. Then we cover linear programming models, IP models, NLP models. All that is coming up with a prescription model. And so we are talking about, if we are given certain inputs, what do we recommend? It's what course of action do we recommend? And so it's different than predictive, and it's different than descriptive. As we go down, this becomes more difficult, and so you would notice in that class that this becomes more difficult. Modeling here is very different than these two. This is the Introduction to Analytics class. This is what we cover mainly. The things to note about it, it's mainly applied in Excel. So we do everything in Excel, and some add-ins to Excel that come with Office Excel, and some safe ones that I deem as appropriate. It covers deterministic models, which means all inputs are known with certainty. And so we build a model in a spreadsheet, we enter the inputs, and we solve it. And so there is no uncertainty whatsoever in the models we cover. It teaches you in parallel best practices in spreadsheet modeling, which is a very important area of analytics. I mean, anybody can do a spreadsheet. The thing is, how good is the spreadsheet? Is it laid out in a nice fashion? Is it documented? Is it easy to understand by others? So we talk about that, since the whole class is on in Excel. It's very much applied and oriented towards business problems. So very hands-driven, hands-on driven. And so we take a typical business problem, whether it is operations, supply chain, finance, marketing, and we solve it in Excel. We first model it, and then we solve it, whether we're covering descriptive or predictive or prescriptive. And we start with the visual. We go in this order: descriptive, predictive, prescriptive. You may find some topics that are familiar to you from statistics classes you've taken or other classes, but it goes more in depth than that. Same with the predictive. So this all is what we do in the Introduction to Analytics class. which comes prior to the advanced business analytics. So when you come to advanced business analytics, you should know all about this. We do not have time in advanced business analytics to cover spreadsheet modeling, best practices, functions. I assume that you have taken all this and you know how to get into Excel and do what you need to do. So now we come to this class, which is advanced business analytics. And so to give you a quick review, we kind of focus on descriptive visualization, but now it is more about you getting the data. The data can be not just a flat table, but a data, say, like from multiple tables that you need to join together. We take this data and we put it in something that is more advanced than Excel, like Power BI or Tableau or whatever we have at our disposal. And we obtain that data and we transform it, which means we clean it, and then we create what is needed to give us the data in a form that we can manipulate and query later on. So for example, you may have to take a date that is month, day, and year, and split it into three columns. Month in one column, then day in another, and year in another. That's an example of transforming the data. So transforming is cleaning and changing the data to a way that would make it easier to do descriptive and visualization in analytics. So we develop what is called a dashboard, which is putting together certain charts and tables. Some are pivot tables, statistics that make sense for a manager to look at, and that would be the dashboard that manager looks at every morning. So like I said, this is no more the visualization in Excel. It is beyond Excel, and we look at software, hopefully, that is available for free for the students, and we use that in this class. Then we go into predictive and prescriptive models, which uses math, statistics, or MS, management science, data science. And so we start by giving a quick review of logistics models, which are very famous in supply chain. And we look at deterministic models. And so known with certainty. All inputs are known with certainty. Just to review what predictive and prescriptive models are like. And then we go immediately into uncertainty models, because those are the ones that you will use to evaluate risk and evaluate situations that involve uncertainty. So yeah, I don't know if the demand for a product is gonna be low, medium, or high. I can predict what the demand, I can look at past data and mine it and find out what the demand has been in the past. But then how do we deal with the uncertainty? And so those are the models we cover in advanced business analytics. So we look at three techniques: simulation, decision trees, genetic algorithm, or which is a technique in artificial intelligence. And so for all these, we're using Excel, but we purchase software that gives add-ins to Excel that there is nothing free. We have to pay for it. And it's one of the major companies that deals with, it's like the suite of add-ins for Excel. And so we will use three of its add-ins, and we'll see that when we're covering the uncertainty models. Then we go to machine learning, some deep learning, and we cover, those are very important in data science, in artificial intelligence. And so we in business want to apply what has already been done And so we are not developing algorithms from scratch. We are looking at projects that have already been developed, and so in open source, and we can just take them and apply them and see how they work. And so we look at continuous and we look at discrete. And so continuous is, for example, requires quantitative variables. So you want to predict the stock price, the price of the stocks, or you want to, for example, predict the quality of a product based on certain criteria. So that would be continuous because it can have fractions. The number can have fractions. But we also cover discrete, which uses a whole set of different variables, and those are categorical variables. So they go into a certain category. So we look at, for example, is it fake news versus real news? That's either one or the other. We cannot have fractions in that. And so that would be a categorical variable. And so the techniques used behind the scenes in data science are different for these two categories. So we would look at that using open source. And so Excel add-ins that are not free, like we said. Power BI from Microsoft is what I have used because it's free for the students and it's available. It's really, the nice thing about it is it's free even after you graduate. Tableau will give us free licenses, but then after you graduate, you have to purchase it. So only as long as you are a student. So I prefer Power BI. And then we'll use Python for machine learning and AI algorithms because that's a very popular language now for analytics. And most important, I think, since this is advanced business analytics, is to teach you how to teach yourself advanced analytics after you graduate. And so it's impossible to cover everything, but we emphasize how to teach yourself after you graduate, what sources are out there. And the order of coverage may be different. It depends on how the semester goes. So unlike the previous introduction to analytics where we go in order, descriptive, predictive, prescriptive, here we may change the course order depending on what projects and class assignments are involved. What is big data? A quick review. Any set of data that is too large or too complex to be handled in standard data processing techniques. So we're not just talking all numbers or all text. We're talking about these days there is video and there is pictures and there is unstructured data versus structured data. So we have, this is the criteria that IBM put out, and so it depends on the volume, velocity, variety, and ferocity, the 4 Vs. And so there is data at rest, which we already have, versus other data that we are collecting in real time. There is velocity, how quick is the data being streaming, and we're collecting it in real time. The variety, is it structured, unstructured, video, images, or just numbers and text? And the veracity is the uncertainty due to data inconsistency and incompleteness. And so that's important. Data in doubt. Is this the accurate data? Are we cleaning it enough? How much cleaning do we have to do? Because that depends. And so that's IBM's framework for data. And so I think everybody agrees on this, that you think that analytics can only be done on big data, but analytics can be done on small data or big data. It's understanding those levels of descriptive, predictive, and prescriptive modeling, and understanding them in certain situations and situations that involve uncertainty or risk. I mean, that's the key here. Term definitions, data science versus data analytics. Data science is what you see more in computer science, and the focus is on developing the algorithms, advancing the algorithms, and so there is a lot of coding. Data analytics is what we do in business. It's more applied. And so when we call business analytics, it's data analytics, but focuses on business problems. There is also health analytics, and that would be data analytics applied to health problems. And so there are many different analytics now in almost every area. Business problems can be deterministic or probabilistic. And so, like we said, known with certainty the data is given, or probabilistic, some data is not available or may be associated with a probability distribution. And so I'm introducing a new product. Do I know how to price it? Do I know what the demand is? And some things you can estimate with a probability distribution if you have prior data. And that would be helpful to model it in a spreadsheet or with appropriate add-ins. Numerical data can be obtained from the entire population or a sample. That's important to understand. It can be a one-time thing. It can be cross-sectional. If I'm collecting from world data, then from every country, that would be cross-sectional. Time series is if I'm collecting the data over time. So there are different ways you can collect data. A great organization for business data analytics and data science is called INFORMS. It's called Institute of Operations Research and Management Science. It's informs.org. And it's a great way to keep up with all the latest in data science and data analytics. So I highly recommend it. There is a membership, but I think as long as you're a student, you can get student rates. After that, it becomes expensive, but then you can get your job to support you to become a member of data analytics. I'm going to stop here, and that's the introduction to advanced business analytics. Thank you.